Now, it's almost time to turn your clocks back for for the end of daylight saving time. You'll gain that extra hour of sleep, and health officials warn that that could actually impact your health. Dr. Reena Mehta joins us with some of that. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So our clocks fall back, but not our bodies.
Exactly. So this was a concept that was implemented during World War I, where it was a thought to try to save energy, and it became more widespread in the 1960s, where we would have daylight savings time as a way to save energy.
But you say there are health issues, so what types of issues?
Yes, exactly. So when daylight saving time happens, it really can mess with our internal body clock or our circadian rhythm. And so any kind of sleep disturbances, if you are prone to having issues with sleep, it can really affect you. If you are somebody who suffers from migraines or headaches, it can really exacerbate that. If you have a loved one who has dementia or Alzheimer's, any type of sleep disturbance can really cause cognitive decline in those kinds of people.
I mean, somebody might listen to that and say, it's just an hour. I mean, it's not like you traveled to Paris.
Exactly, but when you have less sunlight, you get less production of a hormone called serotonin. And serotonin is our happy hormone. So if we have less happy hormone floating around, even for that hour, it can increase the rate of depression or something called seasonal affective disorder, which is a form of depression when the seasons change.
You know, it's funny, there's not a lot of attention paid because when we think of little children waiting on the school bus in the dark and that sort of thing, from what I've read in various articles, it's actually the teenagers who need the sleep.
Yeah.
And that when you're a freshman, you know, even junior in high school, that you really need your sleep.
You really need your sleep. So you will get that extra hour of sleep. However, if you are somebody who's very sensitive to that time change, it can really affect you. Recent studies have shown about an 11% increase in depression during the fall back because, again, you're getting less sunlight. So if you're leaving school or work at 5 p.m., it may be dark outside. And that can be really hard for you to kind of deal with. You go to work when it's dark, you leave work when it's dark, and it's really hard to figure out when to get that sunlight to improve your mood.
Right, and some of these, depending upon where you are in the time zone, it can really make a dramatic difference. I mean,
Exactly.
7:45 in the morning and it's still dark outside.
Mm-hmm.
When you travel, I traveled just to the Eastern time zone last week, and I kind of felt a little lag for a day or so, but I mean, by day 3 or 4, I was on the Eastern clock.
Yeah, I mean, studies show it usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks to make that adjustment. I mean, you maybe
4 to
less,
6 weeks.
but some studies show that it can take weeks to sort of get regulated back to your normal patterns. So, you know, there are a few tips that I have that can help with the adjustment. So number one, try to get as much sleep as you normally do. And so even though you gain that extra hour, try to keep your patterns about the same. Number two, if you're really affected by having less sunlight, try to get more sunlight, or sun lamps can be very effective as a way to try to get more of that, kind of mimic that sun exposure. And actually, some researchers have found that intermittent fasting can actually help get your circadian rhythm back in track sooner.
Interesting. Well, we're always affected by this, those of us who have this strange schedule where we get up in the middle of the night to do this program. So it's always fascinating, you know, to hear about sleep, and it really is such a foundational part of health.
Yes, and those of us with children worry about what will happen this weekend.
And if you have a young infant at home, we've been there. All right,
Exactly.
Dr. Reena Mehta, thank you.